the other thing I wanted to share super quick and is just being having learned human design and understanding the types, and I'm quite bedazzled by the concept of the invitation. And there are some deep lessons here in this projector panel, which even if you are not a projector, I would love for you to listen and take away with this, because there's so much projected energy in the chart. Mm-hmm. Even if you're not a projector type, there's quite a bit of projector energy from the perspective of your wisdom and definition. In order to be received, you know, the ideal is to have an invitation. Mm-hmm. There are certain circumstances, if you're sharing without that invitation, things are going to fall flat. And so, you know, I definitely want to honor the projectors here on this panel for being able to share their wisdom about the invitation. And that's definitely one of the questions that I want to jump to. And I'd love to actually jump to it right now. Because I would really, really love for you to share for the people listening in and watching this to really get the finesse about the projector strategy. So the projector strategy is labeled as to be invited, waiting for the invitation. Now, this can create quite a bit of confusion for people who are new to human design, new to understanding themselves as a projector, new for others getting to understand, you know, the projector nature. Can you describe it? Give examples of invitations? How do you know when it's correct for you? I know that was a really big snowball being thrown at you guys. But yes, I would love to really paint some real world examples of what that looks like. This time I'm going to start with you, Tammy.
Oh, okay. So I have experimented a lot with the invitation. And what I have found that works for me is to be the invitation. In order to be invited, there is a sense of preparing yourself. And so it's not waiting. There is a sense of waiting, right? We are matter to matter. There's a sense of waiting, but there's also a sense of being prepared for when that invitation happens. And I'm going to give an example. I recently, or last year, was invited to co-facilitate a luxury retreat in Banff. I, in my heart of hearts, meditated that I want to go to the mountains again. I love the mountains so much. I want to be able to share my wisdom and my gifts, and I want to go to the mountains so bad. So I just kept this in my vibration. I kept preparing myself physically, mentally, emotionally about getting excited about this invitation. I didn't know how this invitation was going to arrive. And this happens a lot in anything. I'm always preparing myself. So that I'm ready for when the invitation comes. And then when the invitation comes, it comes bigger than I ever imagined it to be. And when I'm invited and I get to share and I'm seen and recognized for who I am, magic absolutely happens. So yes, there is a level of waiting, of calibrating your energy, of holding the vibration of what it is that you want. But and being open, that's the other thing, is not controlling how you want it to come, but being open to how the invitation comes. So I find, like, I am, and I know we're not going into astrology very much, but I'm a Cap rising. I'm a get her done. I'm a go, you know, worker. That's part of who I am, conditioned, and who I am. And so I love to prepare. I love to study. I love to nerd out. And in this way that I do it, when I'm when I'm recognized and invited, I have so much to share because I've created that opportunity in my life.
Nice, awesome, thank you, Brigitte.
Yeah, hi. So in terms of invitation, my experience with it is I have to love it. It's over the years, I've actually started to think about it in the two parts of how it's expressed. Like we need to be recognized. Projectors need to be recognized first for our genius, for the value we add, for our voice, all those wonderful things, right? And we have to like feel good about that. And then we listen for the invitation and then thinking about how much do I love this invitation? I love the recognition, that was nice, but do I love what they're asking me to do? Or do I love what I'm being drawn into? And that took time to get there, because originally I was like, woohoo, I'm in, and just diving into the thing and then hating it. So realizing that we do still, even with the invitation, have the power to say no to it was also a learning for me. And that took time. And when I'm speaking and working with people, I love to express that to them as well. It's hard at the beginning because the invitations are not plentiful, but we're waiting for the lovely right ones. And if we can just practice sitting still beautifully and waiting for the ones that really light us up and stepping into it, then you're good as gold. And then over time, what I learned was, even when I say yes, because that invitation, love it, recognition thing comes a lot faster for me now. But even though I say yes to it, I know from experience that the closer I get to, if it is an action that I have to do, the closer I get to the thing, I don't want to do it. My spleen kicks in. I get into a place of judgment. I'm like, I'm going to suck. They're not going to like me. And the fatigue that I've lived on in that area of perfectionism and judgment, self-judgment and self-criticism, I am tired. So some of it actually shows up as fatigue the closer I come to the invitation. And that's my experience over time, is because I've jumped into invitation. And so I've really worn myself out in that whole left corner of my chart, that left zone. So I have had to recognize that that is going to happen to me. It's happened so many times. I've watched it so many times over the years. I say yes, get tired, don't want to do it, and I resist. And I have just learned skills of how to deal with that. Love the thing in the first place. Know that it was awesome in the first place. Remember that it was awesome in the first place. And know that it's going to be awesome if I allow myself to just go forward. Recognize the anxiety or whatever is showing up and just keep going. So I'm so excited that you asked that question, because it's something that I love to teach people to do, is just be gentle with yourself. Learning the nuances of strategy takes time. Right? At the beginning, when you learn your design, you definitely can make a lot of things shift and happen. But how do I find a career, the right career? How do I find the right job? Those are all these big questions, and they need a conversation. They need nuance. They need practice. They need guidance. I could have used some guidance when I was working on strategy, but that is my experience with invitation. I hope that's helpful to someone listening.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We are getting some questions and comments in the chat. So love it. So we'll definitely chase those down, and we can elaborate on those, because I do have a question in the chat for Splenic Projectors. But Gloria, I would love to hear your response. And I want to hear your wisdom about would you like me to re-ask the question? Or are you bursting at the seams with a response?
Well, before you can recognize whether or not an invitation is even good for you, before you get to the level of checking in with your inner authority, you honestly have to be deconditioned. And what I mean by being deconditioned is you need to flush out, slough off all of the old debris, all of the old assumptions and teachings and indoctrinations about who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to show up, and get in touch with, who am I really? I mean, I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be a neurosurgeon. I don't want to be an anthropologist. I want to be an opera singer, or I want to be an actress. And it's even if it doesn't make sense, it's what's so important is getting in touch with, who are you? What brings you joy? What are your gifts, your talents, and your interests? What calls you every time? Where is your magnetic monopole yanking you towards? What is universal experience bringing into your field? Please pay attention to that so you can start getting deconditioned. Then you're going to know what I'm supposed to be responding to, because I'm not going to be invited to go to a conference of biologists where they're talking about the latest, genetic discoveries, because I didn't go there. You know, I studied other things, and those things are specific and unique to my interests and my talents. And the better I get at them, the more information I have, the more authority I have at them. I can walk into a room and my aura will speak for me, because our auras speak for us. And then people will come up to me and say, oh yeah, I see you're at this conference, at this gathering. So how long have you been studying and doing this? And I can start talking. So that is definitely a way an invitation is going to come. It's like what Tammy said, you do what you're supposed to do, you prepare yourself, and then you're just kind of glowing with authority. And we already know that we don't have to be invited to change the gas, to cook the meal, to go to a restaurant, to call our friends. Allegedly, the way we've been told, it's the big things. If you want to move somewhere, oh, you have to have an invitation. If you want to initiate a relationship with somebody, say you're online at Match.com, you have to wait. And marriage, etc. But you know what? I think that that's kind of shifting and changing. I honestly don't think that it's that rigid, that the parameters and the boundaries are that hard. Honestly, if you feel like there's an energetic opening, if you just feel like, I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway, I'm going to push it. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? So I say, go ahead, do the inviting, show up, be a big mouth, dance on the table, get attention. We're not wallflowers.
I love that. Yes.